Hello, my name is Judy. Welcome to the Liberated Multitasker. Today we're going to make my mother-in-law's homemade soup, and it is the best I've ever tasted. So come along with me while we make this together. Now right now we're going to go ahead and brown 1 pound of ground beef. We're going to get that in our skillet, cut that eye on, and break it up. Now this homemade soup recipe has become a family tradition. We almost always have it for our Hill Christmas. We serve soup, finger foods, and lots of desserts. We're just going to go ahead and add some salt and pepper to the ground beef. We want to make sure we have plenty of nice and wonderful flavor. Now this recipe does have a lot of meat in it. We'll have a pound of ground beef, a pound of shredded chicken, and a pound of shredded Boston butt. Now we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of diced onions, and we're going to saute that in with our meat. These are obviously food preps that I already have in my freezer. Now I'm just going to tell you, this is, I'm not exaggerating, the best soup I've ever had, ever, hands down. Now that our ground beef is mostly brown, we're going to go ahead and drain off some of this grease. I'm not going to drain it so much as soak it up with paper towels. And then just put that to the side. This is not something we want in our finished product. Just going to let it finish browning before we move on to our next step. Now at this point, all of our meat for the soup is cooked. So we're going to move this over and put a pot on this eye. Now this is the secret ingredient to the soup. It's 1 stick of butter. We're going to add half a cup of vinegar. Add that to our pot. And then we're going to start adding our other ingredients. We're going to add 1 can of tomato sauce. 2 jars of stewed tomatoes. That's our second one. 1 jar of tomato paste. This is a 7-ounce jar. We're just going to get all that scraped out. We're just going to stir that all together. We're going to add some Louisiana hot sauce. Now this is to taste. Throughout this process, we'll be tasting the soup and adding salt, pepper, Louisiana hot sauce, and Worcestershire sauce to taste. So we just added some of that. We're going to stir that in. Now we're going to go ahead and add our meat. So this is 1 pound of ground beef and the 2 cups of onions. 1 pound of shredded Boston butt. And 1 whole chicken shredded, which is about a pound. At this point, we're realizing we probably are going to need a bigger pot. So we'll take care of that in just a minute. We're going to end up adding 48 ounces of chicken bone broth. Now we do that a little along. We want to make sure the liquid ratio is correct. So throughout this entire video, we ended up adding 3 jars of chicken stock. So now we're going to go ahead and switch over to our larger pot. This is our 2nd jar of chicken stock. And just letting that continue to cook. We're already starting to do the taste test, even though we've not added all the ingredients. We're constantly tasting for salt, pepper, the hot sauce, Worcestershire, and to make sure we have the tomato and chicken flavor ratio correct. To me, that's kind of a secret as well, if you can balance out the tomato and the chicken. So my husband's decided to taste it now. Now, the difference between me and my husband is he likes more hot sauce and pepper. So at the end, I think the soup is perfect and he wants more hot sauce and pepper. So now we're going to add 2 bags of frozen vegetable gumbo mix. I have 2 different brands. It can be hard to find, so I just grab it when I can. We're going to stir all that in. And this is about half of a 2-pound bag of baby lima beans. So that's about a pound of baby limas. 1 can of whole kernel corn. Looks like he's drained that juice off as well. That's our last jar of chicken stock. Not my last jar, the last jar we add to the soup. And we're just going to stir that in. Now we had some bell peppers diced to add. My recipe says about 1/4 of a cup. I'm guessing we added more, closer to 1/2 cup of diced bell peppers. These are bell peppers that I grew in the garden. Now this is about 12 ounces of shoepeg corn. It was frozen. We just measured that out in the back from the bag. And adding more salt and pepper. Now at this point, this is still not all of our ingredients. We still have more to add. But we're tasting as we go, stirring, adding more things in. Another taste test. So this is the last thing we normally add. 1 tube of white cream corn and 2 cans of diced potatoes already drained. We add the cream corn and the potatoes at the very end. Now at this point, obviously I've condensed this video down, but we've been putting this soup together and cooking it for about an hour. We're going to give it that final taste test. I think it's the final one. More salt, a little bit more pepper, and a touch more hot sauce. We're going to give that another stir. And now we're going to put the lid on. We don't want to lose any of that liquid, and just let it simmer for about 15 or 20 minutes. Now this recipe makes about 8 quarts of soup. Me and my husband had a large bowl, and I've got 7 quarts to put in the freezer. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon.